And welcome back to the program. We want to get an update from United Laguna Woods Mutual and Tom Tooney, their directors, here with us. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Glad to be here.
So there's a lot going on over at United, and we have a lot to talk about. Let's go quick to our overview. We're going to be talking today, folks, about United Board elections, the Meet the Candidates event, United Reserve Funds, 2026 assessment increase. We're going to have to talk a lot about that, I have a feeling. United special budget meeting, and then landscape services cycles as well. So big agenda. So let's jump right into it with the United Board election that's coming up. What do people need to know?
Okay, it's ballot time. Next Tuesday, the ballots will be sent out for United. They're due back by September 25th, so we encourage everyone to participate and vote from United. And if you have any problems, you can call the Inspector of Elections for Unilect, the people that do our votes and the tabulation and everything.
Now, is the mailing ballot the only way that ballots are done in most homeowners associations? I know in mine, we only do mail-in ballots. We don't do the paper ballots. There's no electric way. There's no going into a thing and filling it out.
Not usually in California. In some other states, they do electronic. But we do all ballots.
Okay. So I would imagine that would be a little bit of a money saver. I know we're always looking for ways to squeak out a little money saving in there, but I guess kind of the regulations really prevent anything but paper ballots for homeowners association votes.
They do. They've been changing them some, so maybe in the future we'll see electronic ballots.
Okay.
But for now, you need to mark your one ballot that you get.
Right, one manor, one residence, one ballot, right?
Exactly.
Even if there's two people, or no matter how many people are living in the place, or if even it's a shared ownership kind of situation?
Right.
Okay. And they're due back on the 25th?
That's correct.
Okay. And is that the day of that you guys will be doing the counting?
Counting's not quite that day, but I can't remember the exact date, but it's just right after that.
Okay, so any issues, people can get the information on the screen there and figure out if they have it damaged or if they've lost it, they can still manage to vote, and they'll kind of blank out the old one and give you the new one?
Right, they'll replace your old one.
Okay, sounds like a good plan. So the important thing on this is there are lots of candidates, and you have a Meet the Candidates event coming up tomorrow, and it's going to be over in the boardroom and also live right here on Channel 6.
That's correct. We've got 3 open seats in United. As you can see on this slide, we have 4 candidates for 3 open seats. And so tomorrow at 10:30 in the boardroom, you can learn about each one of those. We have Catherine Bravata, Alan Dickinson, Richard Hall, and Anthony Libator.
Mm-hmm. And when you have these forums, how does it work? Are there people in there kind of asking questions, or are they kind of just presenting their own prepared 5-minute thing or whatever it might be?
Each candidate will have an opening statement. Then they'll be asked the same question by a moderator, and they'll have closing statements. And then anybody from the audience can write down questions and ask those also.
Okay. Now, when you did this, when you ran, did you participate in this forum?
I did.
Okay, so what's it like as a candidate? I mean, when you're going there and you're facing the audience, you're facing the voters and that kind of thing, what is that feeling like?
Well, I think it's just a matter that everyone wants to serve their community and tell about themselves, what they can do, and have it come out the best it can.
Mm-hmm. Is it a challenge to kind of be prepared for any question that might come, especially as it kind of comes to the open mic part or the open questioning part?
There can be some pretty tough questions, especially about the documents that run this organization. This is a complex organization when you have the different boards with GRF, United, VMS, so you have to be prepared to really answer the questions.
Okay. And there's also going to be rebroadcast, folks, for folks who can't make it down there or aren't going to be able to watch it live. It's also going to be on August 28th, September 7th, and September 21st. Do you feel like these Meet the Candidates events are really a great way to kind of get to know the demeanor, the knowledge, and just the background of all the candidates?
Yeah, I think you can learn a lot about the candidates, what their focus is, what their background is by doing that. Also reading the material that comes in the election packet. So it's a good thing to do. When
you ran and then you won your election, what was the biggest thing maybe that happened, one of the things that you didn't realize that you should have known or needed to know, or the biggest surprise when you got on the board, like, I thought it was going to be like this, and it's really like this?
Well, I think the biggest surprise is you've got a full-time job again. So you can put as much time into it as a full-time job to do the job right. So,
And the committee work, right? Not only are you a board member, but you also serve on committees, right? So do you bring whatever expertise you may have had in your previous work life or whatever it might be, and kind of try to focus in on something you know you can make a contribution to?
yeah, you do. And the committee's where the work really gets done. That's the interface with the staff and where policies are made, and then they're just brought to the board.
And your background, what kind of committees have you served on, and what kind of things have you kind of seen made a difference?
My background's mostly finance and information technology. So I've been part of the broadband project, and I've been part of the ITAC, the Information Technology Committee, about the new computer systems, the finance committee, so
Okay,
the
good.
budgets.
That's some good background to have there. Fantastic. All right, so folks, make sure you watch that candidate forum on the 22nd, and then we're going to be replays of that on the 28th, the 7th, and the 21st. All right, since we're talking about finances and that's your background, let's talk about the reserve fund and other expenses that have been going on in assessments.
All right. Well, really, the major topic today is the 2026 budget. And in our budget, we have three primary areas. We have the operating fund that you can think of as your day-to-day operations. We have the reserve fund, which the slide's depicting that, and that's what we talk about, roofs and sewer lines and painting and structures.
Big ticket items.
Big ticket items, exactly. And then we have the GRF contribution that's set by the GRF board, not by the United board. So as a bit of background before I talk that slide, in 2018, our reserve budget was, we had $19 million in our reserve fund in 2018. Projected at the end of 2025, we're going to have 11 million. So we're going to see 42% decrease since 2018, or $8 million less than we had. So that can't continue.
That's concerning, right?
Yeah, that's concerning. If we kept that up, we're going to see a problem, a real problem. And this slide shows you what's been happening. You can see the red line, which is the expense, the green line, which is our assessments, which people call HOA fees a lot of times. And you can see the expenses constantly have outrun the income for it, except for a COVID year.
Right.
So that's just depicting the problem that we have.
Now, there's a certain level is there a certain level mandated by the state or HOA regulations in terms of what your reserve should be, or is it recommended?
It's not mandated, but we do have a reserve study done every 3 years. They come out on site, and basically, in essence, you have to do it. And it tells you where you're at as far as what you should have. Now, we're not looking for 100%.
Right.
But if we could get to 33, 34%, 35%, that would be a good number to have.
These are kind of a best practices in terms of reserve funds.
And we're kind of right in the red area right now because we've spent so many years without bringing in the income in that. So.
And those things are just realities, right, in terms of reserve funds. And what you do with those is to avoid special assessments where the reserves have dipped so much that it's like, okay, now we need to replace roof or a repipe, and now we're going to have a special assessment put on the homeowners, and that's the last thing you want to go to, right?
That's exactly right, and that's why you have a reserve fund, so there aren't special assessments, so that no surprises.
And so when you guys have been dipping in, like you say, it's probably because you're trying to avoid raising fees and HOAs and assessments and those kinds of things, but the realities kind of come home, right?
That's exactly right. You don't want to slow down fixing roofs, and you don't want to slow down fixing sewer lines and things like that.
Yeah.
So you have to keep spending, but you have to bring in the assessment too.
Right. Is deferred maintenance kind of a dirty word around the HOA boards?
It is, because deferred maintenance catches up with you sooner or later.
You pay for it one way or the other,
That's
right?
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Sure does.
So let's talk about assessment increase, which is what people they hate to see that. But it's part of it's one of the realities as a board member. You have to look at the financials and say this is coming.
I agree. I hate to see it too, but you know what inflation's been doing over the last few years. Everybody's going through that. But if you take a look at this slide, you can see that our operating increase, the day-to-day, That's a $31 million budget, and we're only talking about a $4.68 increase in that budget. That's an excellent job. That's an excellent job by staff and the board to keep it that way. And we're also seeing a decrease of $10 per man or per month in our property insurance. Now, property insurance has skyrocketed.
Right. I was surprised when I saw that on this chart.
Yeah, and part of that's because Third and United have gone together and for one policy now, which has benefited both organizations.
Right, bigger policy, bigger buying power kind of thing.
Exactly. So kudos to the VMS staff for making that happen, but we're seeing $10 off our per man or per month on that, which certainly helps. But then you get to the reserve fund. The reserve fund's a $16.5 million expenditure per year, basically budget, and we're going to see that going up by $31.50 as it stands today. And that's a priority to bring that back up to where we're not decreasing anymore.
Right.
But all that said, GRF's at 2372. That's always subject to change. We don't have control over that, but that all gets calculated in, and we're almost at $50 per man or per month when we do that. So the next slide we're going to see really identifies a special budget meeting that's coming up that has an effect on what we just looked at.
Right. Now, this assessment is what's being proposed for next year, right? This is the increase that you say the board needs to apply, and folks are going to have to. You're going to debate this. You're going to be talking about this.
That's correct. Now, we've had several budget meetings already. This will be version 4 coming up next Tuesday. And next Tuesday's special budget meeting is going to be held here in the Community Center Boardroom. It's also on Zoom and Granicus. But the key topic there is, do we want to add 2 shrub bed maintenance cycles to the 2026 operating budget? And that'll be the main issue of the meeting.
Okay.
And as you can see on the screen right now, just to give you an idea what we're talking about is the area around the units, what they look like prior to being taken care of, and what it looks like after, taking care of weeds, taking care of growth, and handling that. So, so that's what we're talking about. But let me give you some statistics about that.
Sure.
On this next slide here, this is a grounds maintenance slide. And when you see the word ticket, it means residents have requested something that's not just normally being done by the staff all the time. So in 2024, we had a split on tickets between United and Third of 53% for United and 47% for Third. And if you look at those numbers, and that's based on 4 cycles a year, meaning 4 times a year, the staff's going to come out and take care of that shrub bed around your complex.
And those in between times, there's need for repairs and things like that.
Weeds grow up faster sometimes, or something happens to plants. Limbs break off of trees, all kinds of things like that. But this next slide that talks about 2025 grounds maintenance, Third Mutual increased theirs to 6 cycles per year, every 2 months instead of every 3 months. And as you can see here, what happened is all of a sudden United has 69% of the tickets and Third only has 31% anymore. So it's quite effective to add the maintenance. And if we go to the next slide, it just gives you a review of the 5 years, and you can see the blue line represents United, red line represents Third, and you can see that the United slide's going up right now. So the real question on next Tuesday's meeting is, do we add 2 more cycles or don't we? Seems like a simple question.
But there's a cost in adding those cycles, right? That's where the rub comes.
That's the key. So if we stay with 4, then nothing changes. If we just stay with 4, and we still have the same number of tickets coming in that we do right now. If we add 2 more tickets, you're 2 more cycles, right? Sorry, 2 more cycles. If we add 2 more cycles, then we're looking at probably another $7 per man or per month. So that $50 goes up to $57 or close to it. Or we decrease our reserves by $7, increase our operating, but all of a sudden, we've got the problem with the reserve fund not balancing anymore.
Right, and that's already an issue that we've seen, right?
Exactly. So that's next Tuesday's main topic. Any other budget items can be discussed too, but we'd like to hear from our United members at that meeting or through any other method.
Absolutely. So that's coming up on Tuesday, 26th. That'll be the main topic that you guys are presenting. I want to circle back to assessments, though, because I have a strange feeling that you guys are going to be talking about assessments at that meeting as well. What is we just kind of talked about the reason why it goes up, but how do you talk to homeowners who are on a fixed income and who really have that's their biggest concern, is those assessments every year, just the creep of those things to where it gets really to be sometimes a problem.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, especially for those that have a real fixed income and they're right on the borderline. We really feel for them. So we try to keep it as low as possible. But at the same time, we've got to take care of roofs, we've got to take care of sewer lines, we've got to take care of the facilities and everything. So we try to balance it the best we can by what we're absolute need and what we can do without.
And do you feel like there's examples of communities when they don't do these things and there are consequences, right? You have the extreme of a building collapse in Florida that we saw when the maintenance was just ignored and those kinds of things. So we're not saying anything that drastic here, but that's what happens when you say, okay, we'll defer, we'll keep dipping into reserves, and then the real problem comes up. That's
exactly right, and that's when special assessments happen and some things that you don't expect to occur.
What do you, when you come as a board member, before you were a board member, your assessments went up, you probably had one feeling about that. As a board member, you probably have a different feeling about that, a sense of obligation to the whole community as opposed to just an individual paying an increased assessment. What does that difference feel like to you?
That's exactly right, because nobody wants to see you have to pay more for your assessment, but at the same time, you want to take care of your place, you want it to look nice, you want the whole community to look nice. So we just try to find a balance on that the best we can.
When you got into this in the first place, when you retired, weren't you supposed to be retiring? This is, like you said, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
What makes you want to serve for United and do these things and really take on, again, this full-time job kind of feel?
You do, but it's all part of the community. And I think there's a lot of good people out there with a lot of background that really could help United. And we'd like to see even more people participate, be it a board member on the committee level. We're always looking for advisors. We like to have people give their opinions at the meetings and everything. It really is helpful.
And do you plan on keeping on serving as long as the folks will have you?
Oh, well, my term ends in October, so I'll be through. I'll enjoy my retirement.
No more committee work? You're not going to maybe do anything like that?
I'm sure I'll have some input, but I won't be the voting member anymore.
So what are your plans? Do you genuinely have some, like, okay, I'm going to do A, B, and C as you get out there into the world of no work?
No, but I have family all around, including England, Minnesota, Colorado, Texas. So we'll be doing a little of that.
We see Tom's going to take off. He's not going to be around, folks. Well, Tom Tuning from United Mutual, thank you so much for coming. Folks, get out to that special meeting next week and make sure you watch the board candidate event. That's tomorrow. And it's going to be right here on Channel 6 as well. So thank you so much for coming.
Great. Thanks.
Have a great one. You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.